if you'd like, you definitely drop your name and your LinkedIn in the chat, what team you're with. Always a great opportunity for us to network. And I see some new faces on here that we haven't had before. So welcome. We're excited to have you. So for those of you that don't know me, I'm Denise Sickenetter. I head up sales and service at Spinzo and kind of champion the Ticket Playbook brand, which again is not necessarily about Spinzo, but sometimes ties back. It's more about just general ticket sales strategies and ideas that we can share. So today's topic is making your promotion stand out. So however you're running a promotion, you want to make it stand out. You want to make it look different. There's a lot in the marketplace. We see as, I don't even know what the crazy stat is, but I think it's thousands of advertisements a day. And so how do we get our pages or our promotions to really stand out or stick in someone's mind or compel them to buy? So I think, it's a topic that there's not necessarily going to be one specific answer to. There's a lot of different ideas and concepts. So I will throw it out to the group first to see if there's anything that that someone wants to jump in and say, hey, I did this on my promotion and this made it work really well. And we'll see where we get. Obviously, we have a few ideas that we've put together as well on our end. So anyone have any or anybody want to jump in and be first to talk about something that they've done in a promotion that really kind of took off and made it stand out? No? No one? Okay, so I can jump in with just kind of some concepts or things that we brainstormed. First and foremost is just the overall look and feel of the page. So it's really easy to put together a promotion, use standard branding, use standard text, standard look and feel, and just throw it out there. But I think if you take the few minutes to really take the page and design it to your promotion, whatever that may be, whether that be a theme night, whether that be towards a specific group, whether that be even like, a flash sale and it has a specific, tie to it. I think there's a way for you to really take that page and make it feel like the promotion. So when people get there, they're immersed in the concept and the idea. If you walk into, let's say hypothetically, you walk into a clothing store and there are clothes everywhere and it's very hard to find things, like you're probably less likely to buy something because you don't want to have to search through the mess, right? Same thing with our promotion, or same thing if you go into a store that's all like buttoned up, everything's in order, you can find exactly what you're looking for, probably easier to purchase and buy. So I think if we look at our pages in that same way, we come to a page that looks like every single other page that I've gotten from ABC team. I'm like, it's the same old deal. But if I come to the page and it's literally like hitting me in the face, Hello Kitty, and I like Hello Kitty, like that to me is like, whoa, this is different. This is cool. This is something new. So I think thinking about it in that regard of like, how do we make these pages and our promotions look like they would if they walked into a storefront? Hopefully that analogy makes sense. But thoughts on that? Has anyone, seen differences with, looks and feels? And Spinzo team, go ahead and chime in with ideas or concepts that we've seen as well. No? So a couple ideas that I will say, if you have just a generic, like a group that you're working with, if you can get an image from them, or if you have an image from them coming previously to a night, if you can work with your group leader, if they took pictures at their last group outing, you can take those pictures and put them in an image scroll. I think that's also important. If you can take and kind of highlight and take, not just have like a block of text, but have certain things stand out in your text. One idea that we saw, and it was actually from the Anaheim Ducks, they did last year, they did a Star Wars night, and they made the text fade like Star Wars did back in the day on their TV shows. And so even like that little, like that's such a little thing, but that little touch took the page to the next level and really kind of embraced the concept that they were going after. Again, makes it stand out, doesn't make it look like every single other Ducks promotion that was out there. Other ideas?
Gonna say, Denise, on Star Wars, the another one of our clients had the spaceship, the Starship Enterprise, flying in the background, and it just kind of adds to the theme, and it shows that the team is committed to having a great theme night there. If you show like good commitment on the design of the page, it means the night is going to be great as well. If the page just looks very generic and just has a little logo and a little bit of text, you know that the night's not going to be fun. So that matters
Mhm.
too. So immersive video as well. And if you have a gift, like say you're doing Hello Kitty and you have a hat, to put it like right at the top of the page because people want the
Yeah.
exclusive item. So like if you're giving away a Starbucks barista cup, you should put that at the top.
If you can get your hands on one. $500 a pop, right? That's a great concept though. That
1,000
cup and
now.
the way, well, but the way that cup flew off the shelves, if you could get someone or a promo team to create a cup like that with and having like the toque or the beanie bee in your guys' colors and then the straw too, like I'm telling you, you got to take things like that and run with them. So there's an idea for you.
Well, we've seen promotions, at least on our system, where the gift ended up a year or two later being worth like 3 times the price of the ticket.
Yeah.
So an exclusive item that's tied to the night is important.
Yes, that was another one on my list. Is just from a standpoint of like making it stand out. What's the hook? What's unique? What's special? How do how do you do that? And exclusive items is one of the things. I was actually just on the National Predators website, and they do a Music City bobblehead series. And so like it's a different. There's different people. So like this year they have Luke Bryan. They have one that's a double that's Mike Fisher and Carrie Underwood. Like how cool is like that's a very unique concept, and you can go after specific markets based on those types of promotion items. So how do you find those exclusive items? Even in groups like smaller groups like heritage groups and those things, are you just creating the item on your own or are you consulting with that community and creating an item that really speaks to them and that they will love and to your point, Emmanuel, that will have intrinsic value later on, that people will still, be clamoring or talking about it or wearing it around town because that's an instant marketing piece. So yes, I totally agree with those types of exclusive items and making sure they're at the top of the page. Other kind of hooks that we see that really drive and make pages stand out, live leaderboards. Um, having some sort of incentive that's out there, getting your groups within the group to really compete and put a prize out there. We have a couple clients that do this very, very well with some of their youth sports teams, and they drive thousands of tickets for those games because they are competing, they're fighting to get that prize. And then even though they may close that out like a week before the game, they put a screenshot of it up there and it's still there kind of as like a reminder that organization or those organizations were the winners. So I think those types of things with being able to track towards those prizes is really effective. I think fan experience tracking, like if you're using a fan experience with a group, you should be tracking it on your page to keep them excited about the experience that they're going to have, to showcase how close they are to it or to showcase how many are remaining. It can drive a lot of urgency and really make that stand out to the people that are coming to the page. So it's not just another night at XYZ team. No, it's a night that includes all of these really cool things. And I think it's also really important when you have fan experiences put on your page or milestone benefits put on the page, make sure there's an image there. Make sure they can see, and those images are really compelling. And that takes just taking images at one game, so that you have, I saw actually one of my colleague, Stu Cohen, he works for the New York Islanders, and he posted and talked about how they just brought back high five tunnels at the New York Islanders, and he had this really cool picture of the players high fiving the fans. And again, that's all you need is like one picture like that. And he posted it on LinkedIn, and it made me stop and look at his LinkedIn post. Where, like, think about that. What are the things that are making you stop on social media? And then incorporate those into your promotion. So that made me stop. I'm like, oh gosh, having compelling fan experience pictures on your trackers would be really helpful because then people understand what that experience is, because they may like high five tunnel. Like what is that? Like, I'm not coming early for that, or I'm not gonna buy extra so I think being able to sell it and show it is really important through those pages. I think being able to just, if you have a special price, being able to differentiate and showcase that price. So making sure that if you are doing something like a flash sale that's like, hey, these are $30 tickets for this long a time, or $31 tickets for 31 hours. Okay, but what's the value? Like, what is the savings I'm getting here? I think there's a lot of people that, you know, again, going back to walking into a retail store, you walk into a retail store, you see something's 20% off. You're like, okay. But if it's 40 or 50% off, you're like, damn, I better buy that. It's on sale. You know, so, or maybe it's just me because I'm a shopper by nature, but you got to think of like, what's that value? What's that, you know, what's that delta that they're seeing? And are you expressing that delta and making sure that information is there? I also think that sometimes people will say, oh, well, that information's in our email or that information's on our website. Great, but like the email, you know, may get forwarded 6 times. People may not read the email. They may just click the link. So is that information on that link as well? You get to the link and there's no information about anything that's happening. And then they forward it to grandma because they want grandma to come see little Johnny do X, Y, and Z. And then grandma has no idea what little Johnny's doing. She's like, I don't want to go deal with that. So being able to compel and put all that information there is really important. I think how it's communicated, I think this goes back to the design of the page, like making sure you're bolding certain things, using different colors, using size of text. If you can have graphics made with the information, sometimes that's more appealing and easier to read and stands out because it isn't just basic black or white text. You know, and I think about my attention span. I think a lot of people in general, our attention spans have really diminished with the, you know, social media and all the things that we are tied to. So if you think about an attention span of probably 10 to 15 seconds, like, are you conveying that message in that time on that page? Because people, if they're going to buy, you know, either they're going to read and then they're going to buy, or they're going to read and be like, move on, or they're just going to go through and buy. So like, are you giving them that, those people that are really reading, are you giving them something compelling to say, yeah, I definitely want to buy this? Thoughts on any of those? Anybody have experience with adjusting promotions with that information? Oh. It's my soapbox and explaining how to do this. Okay, couple other concepts, and then definitely would love some feedback. Urgency drivers, like how are you creating urgency? So whether that's like we talked about fan experience trackers, item trackers. Hey, we only have 500 of this hat. We only have 300 of this hat. Are you putting that out there? Are you communicating limited availability? Are you putting limits on the inventory and marking them sold out? Do you have a countdown clock to show when things shut down if it's not just game day? Is there a time that things are shutting down before then? You know, how are you compelling people to understand that this isn't available all the time, that this is unique, this is different, this will sell out? I think that, you know, being candid, if this has sold out previous years, so if you did a heritage night and you had this really cool hat and a package, like making sure that that's communicated when you launch. Hey, last year this sold out weeks before the game, or last year this, you know, this is what happened. I think being able to communicate that stuff on those pages only helps reiterate to people that this is unique. This is not just around all the time. You know, that it is a short period and you need to make sure that you want to jump in and jump in now. I think too, being able to say what's different from previous years. So if you do have repeat promotions that you've done, so for example, you know, maybe you have done a heritage night for multiple years, but people are coming back to the page. What's new this year? Is there a new item? Is there a new performance? Is there a new seating zone? Is there a new meet and greet? What is different and what is compelling compared to what they've done before? Or if you have a group that has multiple games, maybe you give them access to multiple games throughout the year, and you have one game that is like that special game that you draw attention to. Okay, what makes this different? And if that's not clearly communicated, they'll just buy one of the other games, right? So if you're funneling people or trying to push people to one specific promotion or one specific event, what makes this different and why should they buy this one? So, you know, are you giving them those reasons? Are you, you know, detailing that? Are you drawing attention to specific things that are new and different, or that may be of interest to them? And then last for my concepts, and I would love to hear from other people, is social sharing. Like, how are you encouraging people to share the promotion? Do you have a who's going feature on there that lets them know who else is already going? And you know, kind of where they're sitting and helping create that FOMO, especially with those smaller groups or those niche groups that have, you know, knowledge of who else may be in the group. It's always great to have those tools out there so that they can know and understand, you know, who else is already tied in. And then being able to have those social sharing buttons where people can quickly and easily send that out to their friends, family, or, you know, their social media to be able to say, hey, I'm going to this event, you know, this is, you should be a part of this. And, you know, can you encourage that? Absolutely. You know, by pushing things out and saying, hey, share this, we get to this number, maybe everyone gets something, and you can add another fan experience or add another opportunity to them or for them. So, other thoughts, like what else are people doing to just kind of separate your promotions from every other promotion that's out there?
One of the things I was going to say, Denise, I see this a lot of our clients too. They'll do group nights just for a school or a nonprofit or youth sports team, and they'll focus on that group, but they'll not talk about what's special for the night in general. So there might be a night where they have like a pizza giveaway or ice cream giveaway, and maybe on their promotion page on their website they'll indicate that. But then you're doing a group night and it's the same night. Well, they have access to that free ice cream too, or the free pizza too. So I think it's important even on those group nights to highlight what makes that game special anyway, because I find not a lot of people do that.
Yeah, or even like to your point, Emmanuel, like in the NBA, like they just announced a lot of their city edition jerseys. Like, is this a city edition night? Are they wearing a special jersey? Is this our holiday promotion, or you know, is this a giveaway? Like, I think being able to put those on your other promotions again makes it stand out, gives more and more value of why this person should buy that promotion. Love that. Great point. Other ideas of what we're using to separate our promotional offers or pages from others?
I have one, Denise.
Yeah, thanks, Mario.
yeah. Not one that we've. I think we're kind of tested it out a little bit at the end of last year, but just using videos in the background, using those different things that we have, the other elements of the game. I think that's something we definitely want to do a little bit more of. I think with MLS only having 17 games, we do want it to stand out a little bit more. So for our like Marcelo Balboa retirement night, we had that.
Yeah.
A picture of it or a video of his like iconic goal in the background, and it didn't end up doing great in terms of ticket wise, but that's the kind of the concept we want to take for other nights. So would be interested to see what other teams do it that way, but I think that's just something we want to do a little bit more of, is kind of standing out amongst the marketplace in terms of the actual link itself and what it looks like, and other elements of the night and things like that. So didn't have a ton of success, but definitely something we want to do more of.
Yeah, I love that, Mario. You made me think of a concept that actually was from years ago with the Sacramento Kings. They were doing a heritage night, and I'm gonna blank on it, but Vlade Divac was a part of that group, and they actually had a pre-recorded video of him that they uploaded to YouTube and then put on the page so you could click and hear directly from him. And he was like, hey, community, can't wait to see you out here. So like, could you take, some snippets, like if you do have a retirement, take some snippets of, interviews from that player, put them on the page. Like, can you have a special guest from if you're using a specific community, welcome fans. Hey, we're so excited to partner with X, Y, and Z, and this is the night, and this is what will happen. Like, having someone speak on the page can also be really compelling. So that's just uploading a video to YouTube and then being able to put it on there. So I don't know, with like touring shows too, like that could be a really cool option. Like if you could use like Harlem Globetrotters, for example, I know they always send like a press player, but could you get that press player to do a really cool video for a couple youth basketball organizations? Like, hey, blah, 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 youth basketball organization. We can't wait to see you at our game. You know, cheer us on. And then you take that quick little snippet of the video and put it on the page. Like, oh my gosh, they said our name. They talked about us. Like, again, little teeny things, but I think those things make a big difference. Making it personable, I think, is really, really important. Other ideas? Questions? Thoughts?
We may have mentioned fundraising briefly, but if you can embed a fundraiser into your offers, those are big, and especially with the corporate offers, if you want your corporate offers to stand out among employees of the company, to offer to sponsor their or to put fundraising toward their foundation or the charity that they support. So a lot of companies have a charity that they support, and if you put that front and center on the page, it might be more likely that people from that company will buy, or that executives from that company might buy big wads of tickets, like 10 tickets or 20 tickets, mainly for the benevolent reason of supporting the nonprofit, and then they can give those tickets away. So sometimes that incites something, because those will stand out. A fundraiser will stand out.
Absolutely. Any other thoughts on this topic or questions on a certain promotion you're working on or anything like that? Hopefully you got an idea. Hopefully spark some creativity. But I think it's, you know, it's taking those extra 2-3 minutes to really do something different on the page, or bold text, or change color, or highlight it, or, you know, add a video, or add an image that's a, you know, quality image of a giveaway, so people aren't questioning. I think the more transparent and the more information you can put out there, but in a clear and concise way, the better off you are when you're making your promotions really kind of look different and feel different than just a generic, you know, for lack of a better term, generic Ticketmaster page where they just go buy their tickets. And Ticketmaster is our partner, but that's why we set ourselves aside from Ticketmaster, is because our pages allow you to do that. And I think really being able to dive in and take advantage of those tools will help make a big difference with conversions and getting more and more people to purchase.
And I'd say if you're going to put the effort to make the page look nice and do all the resolutions of the photos, you might want to give a special image to whoever in the group is sharing it. So for example, if you're doing a school offer, you might want to make a custom image for them to put in the email. And that image is not really meant for the promotion, but it's kind of like a little poster. So if you're already doing this graphics work and putting together stuff and saying, oh, it's a pizza giveaway night or whatever, you might want to put that all into an image and say, hey, you might want to share this in the email. So it's more than just the promotion page, it's what gets people to the promotion page. So that's very important too. So if you're going to do all that effort, you might as well give them the little poster image for them to promote.
Absolutely.
You're doing a group.
Great concept. Take it full circle. Complete all pieces of the puzzle. Well, if there aren't any other ideas or questions, this one we'll get 5 minutes back in our day, but hopefully, like I said, you got some sort of nugget, some sort of idea, inspiration. Can't wait to see what you guys do with promotion pages, however you're promoting your offers. But if there's, as always, any questions or any thoughts, like, we're here to help and make things happen. And last, thank you all for joining, and we can't wait to see you next month. We'll be talking like best of 2025. So bring your concepts, ideas. We'll pull the list of some of the best things that we've seen, and we'll kind of close out 2025, which sounds scary, but 2025, with talking about some of the best of, and hopefully giving you some ideas to launch as you turn towards 2026. So thank you, everyone. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, guys.